Yo, what's going on? I appreciate everybody for tuning in. First and foremost, shout out to you all, the subscribers, the family members, the supporters of the channel. I'm appreciative and grateful for you all allowing me a few minutes out of your day, a few hours out of your week to just kind of go through topics that I hope you all are interested in. And as always, y'all know if y'all leave a comment or reach out if it's something that we could facilitate on the channel that you want a DFD, the attorney, to talk about, we'll definitely dive into it. And also, I want to give a big shout out to a new channel member. Let's go and get everything queued up on the screen. And a big round of applause for the new channel member. And I like your name too. No weapon formed against me. That take me back in the day when Mom Dukes had me in church like 4 days out of the week growing up. I remember that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I remember that very vividly. So shout out to you. Appreciate you for tuning in. Pretty eyes, what's going on, sis? I hope everything is well with you. And we got a few topics that we want to cover about the super mayor. Y'all know I kind of like to wait till the new topic come up. So there's a few things that came up that I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about this. As always, I'm a licensed attorney, licensed in several places. None of these places amount to me being your counselor at law. So this is infotainment purposes, not legal, financial advice. Always seek a professional in your area. And if you get some value, definitely support the channel and the content. Bo, what's good, my friend? I appreciate you tuning in to the channel as well, to the live stream. Definitely grateful. Okay, so two things happened. I think we'll start with the one that happened first. Reelection. Now we already know what's going on. I could have put up a shitload of videos about the legal mess, the legal battles, the uh, federal probe that subpoenas were issued for related to the super mayor. But I thought this was interesting. Now the question is, she filed for reelection. Why would she file for reelection? And I saw a couple other videos. Shout out to Hannibal is Hungry. Shout out to, I think it's called News for Reasonable People. I've seen a couple of videos about this, but the thing that I think is interesting is why she filed for reelection is something strategical, and it's something that we've probably seen at a federal level as well. We have seen at a federal level as well. Hey, I appreciate that. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody. I definitely appreciate that comment as well. I'm grateful that I could provide some value for you all. Now, the first thing, and I talked about this before, if I were representing the super mayor in her role as mayor, as soon as I got wind of federal subpoenas coming in, I think the number one thing that a politician should do if they have to deal with a federal probe or investigation is, hey, if you have the means, you should probably walk away from the game. Probably go ahead and resign. Now I know that she's making over 300,000 a year in her role as mayor and her role as township supervisor. And we talked about it on the channel before. Outside of these roles, I'm gonna be honest, no shade to her, but I don't know what skill set she has where she can make an equivalent salary. Like, what could she do in the private sector that can make her 250,000 dollars a year? I'm gonna just be honest. I don't know. I even it was a member of a on Facebook. Oh, shout out to there's a debt free dad Facebook page I just started, but there's an actual Facebook group for the folks in the village of Dalton keeping up with all of this. And I asked them I was like, yo, what job do y'all think the super mayor Tiffany Henyard can do outside of an elected job or a nominated job or an appointed job where she can demand a salary of $200,000 or more? And the answers were hilarious. 97% of them didn't have anything to do with a legal venture. So, generally, the best thing that a person can do if they're a public official, they have some type of investigation probe related to corruption, is just bow out gracefully. And I talked about this before. The reason it's advantageous to bow out gracefully if you have the means to do so, because it immediately ends the period of alleged illegal conduct that the feds, the locals, whoever is investigating you can actually go and look at. Let's just think about it. If she got issued federal grand jury subpoenas in, let's say, early 2022, early 2022, 2023, had she walked away at that point, the only illegal conduct or alleged illegal conduct that they could look at would be things that happened from the time that she got elected up until the period where she walked away. However, when you stay, if you don't change your pattern, which I'm gonna just be honest, it don't look like she changed any pattern of misuse of funds or alleged or potential illegal campaign contributions, you just keep adding potentially new criminal charges that have brand new statute of limitations that just keep stretching this thing out and stretching it out and just making it even worse. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I think it's always in the best interest. If a politician has the resources to walk away amidst a federal probe, you should probably walk away. She's praying her bingo buddy will help keep her in office. And I agree, and it's not a bad strategy. I'm guessing what job that was. And those jobs went from everything. It went to the legal job was like reality TV show host. Somebody said working the poll. I mean, the jobs got real ridiculous. Yeah. Oh my goodness. What's good, Norm? How Henyard has changed the locks on her supposed rental home with high security locks, and the garage code has been changed also. The owner allegedly has proof that Henyard's not living there. She probably illegally subletting it to somebody else at a higher rate. A lot of people do that all the time. Bottom line is this: if Chicago wanted to put her out of her misery, they would already have. The only people it's hurting is the black community. So they will have to slow cook this until they had enough. I agree. I think that's a fair point and a valid point. But generally, I would advise someone to walk away. Now, we talked about this before. I think the reason that she can't walk away, I just don't think she has the economic ability to walk away. I know I got blasted in the comments. People were like, "Oh, how is she broke if she's spending all the township money and all of the village money and commingling funds and everything?" And that's a fair point. But just one, hey, the channel is called a Debt Free Dad, and I'm not a finance guru. I'm just an everyday guy who uses a little bit of common sense with his finances. But she doesn't give me vibes of someone who is fiscally responsible, even with her own money. Could not be the case, but generally, people who have a spending pattern of excess with someone else's money, the reason that they're doing it with someone else's money is not because they can't do it with their own, is because their own isn't enough to supplement the excess that they want. We see this all the time from the Wall Street Ponzi guys. So I just don't think a lot of people think she's just sitting on all of these M's and she's been stealing all this money and she got a big ass bank account. I would be shocked if that's the case. I don't think that's the case. That's why I don't think that she had the ability to just actually resign from the position. I think that that salary she's getting, the $300,000 or plus $300,000 from both positions, she actually needs that salary. She needs that salary to probably pay attorneys if she isn't using the villages or the townships money. She needs that money to probably live a lifestyle that she wants to continue to live. So I just don't think that she's fiscally responsible in general with anybody's money, hers, the townships, the villages' money. So I don't think she had the economic resources to just walk away, not do anything, and still have bills and a lifestyle that she has to, try to still sustain. I just don't think that was the case. The other thing that we talked about is I don't think she has the economic resources. But remember, if you're okay, this isn't a how to commit fraud. This isn't a how to commit fraud live stream or podcast. But one of the things you got to remember is levels to being a successful criminal. And if you think you're going to misappropriate funds and then transfer those funds to your personal accounts or buy property with those funds, you're going to end up up shit's creek with all types of asset forfeitures and not having any money. Because the important thing to do, you've all seen this if you watch any criminal show with a gang, the mob, the cartel, the thing that you need in the middle is you have to have a method or a vehicle to actually launder the money. Money is illegally obtained. Illegally obtained money is laundered through a legitimate business, preferably a cash business. Strip clubs, churches just normally ring out, but hey, not telling y'all how to do it. But this is normally how the goon squad and the bad guys do it. They get the money illegally, they launder it through a legitimate business, preferably something that's cash heavy, and then they take that legitimate money and they can put that legitimate money into their accounts or other person's account so that there's some track record, there's some payout from the IRS. All of those things are done. There's a couple of reasons why I don't think she has, even if she did take the money from the township and put it in her personal account, she definitely missed the laundered part. And the reason she missed the laundered part is because, I mean, I'm gonna just be honest. Whatever the allegations are here, these schemes, this fraud, this misappropriation of fund, whatever it is we want to call it, it's not fucking rocket science. Pardon my language. It's sloppy. It's unorganized. I don't think that one, she'll take the actual detailed step to try to launder the money. Now, I think that an attempt probably was made. I'm not saying that, hey, allegedly, but from the looks of it, it looks like the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation might have been a failed attempt of trying to legitimize some of that money through a vehicle so that it could look legitimate and be in their bank account. But one, I just don't think she has the criminal intellectual prowess to be able to launder the money. And two, my guy Wolverine, shout out to Wolverine, he pointed this out. If you were a money launderer of criminals, would you launder Tiffany Henyard's money? Like it, without a shadow of a doubt, she is the type of client who would probably lead to you being caught, probably do something messy that you expressly told her not to do. So that's why she couldn't walk away. It probably would have been best for her to bow out the game. Just, hey, go ahead and resign, move on to greener pastures. I think because of her economic situation, she wasn't able to do that. I also think because whatever misappropriation or alleged criminal conduct or illegal conduct may be going on, I don't think she had the wherewithal or the context to have that middle portion of laundering the illegal money to illegal means. I just don't think she had the resources, the network, the intellectual prowess to actually execute that part of it and get it done effectively. So she had to stay on board. So I get it. So now that she can't bow out of the game because she got to live and she has to stay in the game, we've seen this at the federal level. It makes a little bit more sense at the federal level. But let's just be honest. Let's just be honest, okay? Hey, politics aside, let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about it. There are a shitload of reasons why former President Trump wants to be current president. One, hey, he got a shot to do it again, so he's going to want to do it again. Two, it's a lot of power, a lot of authority, a lot of power that allows you the ability to leverage situations for a little bit of a benefit. Hey, I think all politicians do it. Some are worse than others. Some are better at disguising it than others. But three, the most important reason, if I were President Trump, why I would want to be president again is because, hey, I'm going to nix any federal investigation into me. You know why? Because I'm going to make sure whoever I DFD would make sure whoever I appointed as a U.S. attorney, you're going to have an interest in pursuing justice, just not justice against me. It is what it is. That's just kind of how it goes. So the reason that she wants to run for re-election and win is to maintain power. If she has a successful re-election campaign, it allows her to hold on some remnants of power. It allows her to have some potential context. It allows her to potentially be able to divert some of the village funds or the township funds into the coffers of other persons who it may be in their best interest to continue to either ignore the fact that these alleged crimes are occurring or protect her from the fact that these alleged crimes occurring. So it's all about protection and covering your bottom line. That's my thought. Let's see. Let me go ahead and check out some of these comments real quick. I agree. She does not have the funds, which make me wonder how some have said she is building another home outside of the township. I mean, and if she is building another home outside of the township, that can be done in so many ways. We've seen politicians recently who fudged numbers on their taxes. We've seen politicians who took advantage of PPP loans. We've seen politicians in 2023, 2024 who filed fraudulent filings on loan applications. So if she is getting a house built, there's a lot of ways that she could have done it. Even if she didn't use allegedly illegally obtained funds. Yeah. She strikes me as a woman that's living check to check because she's not financially responsible. If she could have done what she did with the town's money, you can only imagine how she obliterated her own money. I agree with that. You'll be amazed though when I did that video. If you go through those comments, everybody was like, "Oh, she got money. How can you say she broke if she make $300,000 a year and she's spending the township's money? If she pulling in $300,000 a year, she probably pulling in like 170, maybe 180 after taxes. I don't know. Like it'll be interesting. We'll see. Well, I ain't gonna say we'll see shortly, but for some reason, a lot of people associated with the village of Dalton and the Thornton Township filing bankruptcy proceedings. So if there is some failures with her personal finances, that shit will end up coming to the light eventually. I agree with you. She should have stopped when she had the opportunity, but she had so many reasons that made sense to her. Yeah, you always stop. If somebody like, yo, DFD Marcus, we investigating you for something, I'm gonna stop it immediately. If it's something I can't cut off, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and step out of this position. But that's always the best approach. I want to cue up this video regarding her reelection campaign, and then we're gonna dive into the results of a court battle between Tiffany Henyard and some of the trustees. She is something else. But I don't know what. I agree. I actually shout out to y'all. I reached out to a couple of point of contacts because I want to actually I reached out to a couple point of contacts because I actually want to do a live stream where I talk to a couple of persons who are actually residents of the village of Dalton. Preferably, I would like a younger voter, a middle-aged voter, and like an older voter, somebody at the bingo group to be exact. Because I actually have some questions on collectively how people are viewing them. So if y'all know a plug or somebody specifically who would be willing to do that, have them reach out to me, officialdebtfreedad@gmail.com, or they can hit me on IG, Facebook. I'm on all those things. Don't hit me on TikTok. I'm on there, but I'm probably not going to reply. All you have to do is go to TD Bank. TD Bank pleads guilty to Bank Secrecy Act and money laundering conspiracy. Yeah, they all do that. They all do that. Not they all, but a lot of them do. If you Google like Wells Fargo and Bank of America, I used to work for an agency where we put bad bankers away all the time. I mean, it's just a travesty. In your opinion, if and when she's get caught up with the law, what will happen to her? Like the steps she would go through for what she's done. Is actually interesting. Let's cue up the video. I'm gonna circle back to that question. That's a good question. We're gonna get to it. Let's get this video out the way. Then I'll dive into that question, and then we'll jump into the results of this legal battle that's going on.
She's facing multiple investigations, accused of misusing village funds, but that's not stopping Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard for running for re-election.
Our Jermont Terry has been covering this saga for years and is here now with her announcement and the opponents she'll face. Jermont.
Joe and Erica, the election is not until 2025, yet Tiffany Henyard has officially decided she wants to stay as mayor despite the cloud of controversy surrounding her.
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
Back in 2021, Tiffany Henyard was sworn in as the mayor of Dalton, the youngest and first Black woman to hold the position. Yet since becoming mayor, she's made headlines in what some would say for all the wrong reasons.
Real quick, I want to just go back to see that image real quick of her swearing in. Where was it? Yeah, it's crazy because I bet right here in this point in time, a young sister, because normally mayors they be kind of gray and decrepit, not decrepit, but normally older, more established, mature look. A young sister, I bet you right now at this very point in time of this image right here, that entire community, she probably was so popular. And like if they would have uphold her popularity approval rate, it probably would have been like 70 or 80%. Because I mean, I could see how that would be a bright moment, and especially no one knowing what the hell that they had just signed up for. So I guarantee you that in that moment right there, the overall consensus of the village is that we're gonna have a much brighter future. I don't think no one could have anticipated what they got. And I talked about this before, and some people were going, hey, disagreeing with me, but I've looked at about 7 to 10 videos, just randomly videos that I selected of her as a trustee, and she was on the right side of most arguments. She was on the right side of most arguments. She went after the previous mayor and the persons in charge for the lack of transparency, all the things that she's failing to do in her administration. But at this point in time, I think everybody thought that this was going to be like she was like the Obama change candidate to these people, which is crazy to see how things have come over these years.
To hold the position. Yet since becoming mayor, she's made headlines in what some would say for all the wrong reasons. After 1 year in office in June 2022, voters recalled her. Yet Henyard fought back in the Illinois appellate court throughout recall votes, resulting in this celebratory Henyard at the start of a city council meeting.
ain't no stopping us now.
Oh my God.
Since then, Dalton trustees have been fighting to stop her every move. For 3 years, Henyard's spending has been called into question. Back in April, shaky cell phone video showed 4 plainclothes FBI agents at the Village Hall lobby. Subpoenas later revealed the FBI was looking into Dalton's financial records. It's led to explosive city meetings where many have called for Henyard to step aside. Yet on social media, Henyard writes, "I'm running for re-election of Mayor of Dalton," adding, "If you support me and my team or would like to volunteer, inbox me." Henyard has plans to stick around despite ongoing probes, orders from judges forbidding her from making any appointments, and possible eviction from her home. And she's done her share of suing too. Last week, she filed suit against 4 board members and the Park District. She accused them of illegally holding meetings outside of Village Hall. And while Henyard plans to seek re-election, the ticket is quickly filling up. One trustee, Jason House, has already officially announced, and others are expected to do the same before the filing deadline. In the control room, Jermont Terry, CBS News, Chicago.
All right, so that's kind of where we are. Let me go back real quick. Let me see. All right, let's go back to this question. Hey, shout out to you. This was a good question. In your opinion, if and when she gets caught up with the law, what will happen to her? Like the steps she would go through for what she's done? Well, the very first thing that's going to happen is once they actually indict her, and I'm assuming that the federal government would probably seal this indictment. I would because it's a political figure. I wouldn't want the information to get out until after she's been taken into custody or either turned herself in. But at some point, she's going to have an indictment. And let me pull this up so you. This is a little bit older video, but this is I'm gonna pull it up. This second video right here, Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard's top 5 criminal charges exposed. In that video that I did, we just went through the top 5 charges that she could likely be charged with or indicted. That'll be a good video. It was a little bit long because there's a live stream. We went almost 2 hours, but we broke down several things that she could potentially be charged with. And we talked about the viability of each of those just based on the facts that we have at present. So that'll be a good look if you want to get a deep dive. But after she get indicted, she's going to either be taken into custody or she's going to have to turn herself in. If it were me, I'm coming. I'm gonna actually do what the feds did to Diddy. I'm gonna tell her you could turn yourself in on Wednesday, and I would probably I would probably go pick her up on Tuesday, preferably from some live event where she live streaming or something, just because she likes the publicity. So I'm going to give it to her. But the process will be relatively easy because an indictment. I mean, I think the easiest charge that I think that they have to be indicted is two of them. I think one charge for illegal campaign contributions, because even just from news outlets, it appears to me, just what we see from news outlets and reporting, that she clearly used either township funds or village funds for promotional events that would be considered campaign events for, hey, this is sponsored by the super mayor. This isn't necessarily an event for the township or for the village. This is actually a campaign event. So I think campaign finance violations would be an easy one. Another one is it was a video. I don't know if you all recall, but it was essentially business owners said that she was strong arming them and not renewing their business license so they can conduct their business because these people wouldn't continue to donate to her charity. Either it was her charity or her campaign. It was some type of donation that was expected to be made. In one of the videos, the gentleman said somebody from the FBI came and actually spoke with him and said that they were looking into such allegations. So I think those would be relatively two easy ones, but it'll go through the normal process. The grand jury will be convened. They'll present the evidence. They'll present the evidence to the grand jury. The grand jury will come back with no bill, saying that there's not enough evidence to charge her, or they'll come back with a true bill. When they come back with a true bill, they got those criminal charges. The next thing that'll be done is probably an arrest warrant. I seriously doubt if they allow her to turn herself in. They might. I wouldn't. They might. And then once she's taken into custody, she's going to have her first appearance. And at her first appearance, they're going to do essentially three things. We'll figure out what she's doing about an attorney. She's not going to qualify for any public defender because her income is way too high. So her attorney is going to make a general appearance in the case. And, hey, put my name on that file. I'm her counsel for this case. The next thing she's going to get is a court date. The next thing they're going to do after that is they're going to argue over whether she should be held on a bond or whether she should not have a bond. I think her prior criminal conduct is like theft or breaking into cars or something that was relatively slight. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think the most interesting thing about that process would be if she gets a bond or not. Because one thing that I could see her do, and we talked about Diddy's bond on a separate video, but the big issue, and you're like, what does Diddy's bond here have to do with this one? The big issue with Diddy's bond, it wasn't his. Well, it was kind of his propensity to violence, but what the court really focused on him interfering, tampering with potential witnesses. I think if I were a prosecutor, that would be the argument that I would beat in the ground when it comes to Tiffany Henyard. She just strikes me as the type. If she's indicted and charged and the court says, hey, we're going to let you go. We're going to, hey, no bond, just show up to court for whatever day. Without a shadow of a doubt, if they give her no bond, I guarantee you within 24 hours, they'd probably be able to find some evidence that she's calling persons who could potentially be a witness to maybe change the narrative. So I think that would be the best argument for the government as to why she would need a bond, because, hey, she has a propensity to be able to or try to lean and dictate people, her subordinates, people who were in her inner circle to do certain things that were illegal. So we believe that there's probably a high probability that she'll reach out to potentially coerce or try to tamper with witnesses to make them change the narrative of what was going on. But it'll be that general thing. But check out that shout out to you, Jay. That was a good question. Check out that video where I went through the top 5 crimes that she could be charged with. It was even one on there that I never heard of. And I've been doing this for almost 15 years now. And Wells Fargo slide by, but no, Wells Fargo, because I had some personal cases against Wells Fargo. The problem with the banks and when they do those things is it's hard when a bank does an act that's fraudulent. It's hard to nail down the individual who was really responsible for the criminal conduct. So that's the problem when you're doing investigations into actual financial institutions. Because, okay, if bankers are doing something illegal, like, okay, they're giving out loans to people who probably shouldn't qualify by overinflating their assets. Let's say that's what the bank was doing. The first thing you're going to do is, well, hey, let's talk to the persons who filling out these loan applications. Where'd you get this from? Who gave you the directive? And a lot of times when you're looking at financial institutions, it's difficult to hold an individual accountable. It's not uncommon. I've done it before. I've sent some bank CEOs away, but it's difficult to do because a lot of times you can't nail down that the specific guidance that was given to the persons on the lower rung who make things happen was from a particular person to hold individually criminally liable. So most times you get that the bank did this wrongdoing. And then when it comes to a bank doing a wrongdoing, it's just all about the payola. Same with pharmaceutical companies. Investigated, prosecuted pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical companies will do something wrong and there's nothing for them to pay out a $200 million, $100 million settlement because whatever it was they did illegally with that particular drug, they marketed that drug for something that the FDA didn't approve. They probably made 10 times or whatever that settlement is. So that's the problem when you're looking at corporations. It's hard to identify a specific individual who was, okay, this guidance to do this illegal act across this financial institution was specifically handed down from the chief operating officer. Normally, you don't really find that nexus. So it ends up in some settlement with a financial institution. And then they put them on it's kind of like probation for banks. It's a corporate integrity agreement. Wells Fargo, you did something wrong. We couldn't tie it to an individual, but we're going to give this bank a sanction. And for the next 5 years, Wells Fargo, you have to comply with this corporate integrity agreement. And this corporate integrity agreement will lay out certain things that the financial institution has to do in order to comply. But that's why you see it looks like Wells Fargo slide, but they pay a lot of money, but that's why you don't see a lot of bankers really being incarcerated for wrongdoing because it's hard to find that nexus to link the individual to the overall scheme of the bank that they were doing as a whole. Haney has said that there's nothing they can do to her and there are no ordinances that prevent her spending. Norm, I said that a lot. And of course, I got I got a bunch of grief. I did a video recently where I talked about her gas giveaway. I was like, the question was, is her gas giveaway illegal? And I said this in numerous videos. I watched I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but he did a video regarding her gas giveaway. And his big takeaway was, and I get it, like, she spent $42,000 in funds and giving away gas to people. And I was like, and it's the townships or the villages' money. And I was like, politicians do giveaways and things for the community all the time. And that money comes from the community. Government ain't got no money except what they take from us. So like if a politician does a book bag giveaway, most of the times those book bags were paid for with tax dollars from a slush fund that says, hey, you have a particular amount of funds to be able to use for constituent services or community events, and they'll use those monies. So you actually made a great point with that comment, Norm. I think the bigger issue, shout out to you because that's a good comment. I say this all the time. This was a it's the village is a small village. It's a small community, not a lot of people. The township is a little bit larger, but let's focus on the village on this one. It's a small community. And one of the things that we seen, even when they tried to recall her, they didn't follow certain procedural processes. Like even with, I said it with regard to the travel. With regard to the travel, me as someone who's been a government employee at various levels, I know that the government has rules that says if I'm going to Bogota for work, or I'm going to Germany or Los Angeles or wherever the hell it is I'm going, I have an obligation to get the flight that is most affordable. I'm like, don't be Spirit, but I have an obligation to get a flight that's the most affordable. I can get a flight that's affordable, and sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm not riding. I want to upgrade my seat, and then the responsibility is for me to pay the difference. It's the same with a hotel. I have to get a hotel that's reasonable. I can't be like, yo, I'm going to the Four Seasons. But if I want to upgrade, there's provisions that allow me to, hey, well, we'll pay for this. Is the cheapest room was $157 a night. And you don't, I mean, you have to get the most affordable room, but it doesn't mean I have to get like, damn, I got to go to the Motel 6 with some damn bed bugs or nothing like that. It's a little bit of leverage to make sure you can get a different place. But if the place is $156 a night, and I'm like, I want to stay at a place that's $200 a night, I can still stay at that place. The difference is just on me. But even with regard to her spending, with regard to her going on travel, there should be some policies, processes, regulations in place to say what you can or can't do. So when we looked at the gas funds, we looked at that, hey, was this gas giveaway illegal? Based on the video I saw, the only thing that looked illegal with the gas giveaway was the potential campaign finance violation. Because remember, campaign finance violation is really flimsy. Think about it. The hush money case against Donald Trump for paying off an ex-corn star, an ex-corn on the cob star, the hush money case is really a campaign finance violation case, if you think about it. Because, hey, he paid off the corn on the cob lady because he didn't want anything that she could put out there to damage his presidential bid. So campaign finance violations is really flimsy, and things that you don't think is a campaign finance violation could be. So if the gas giveaway, if she gave away $42,000, the question is going to be, this is going to be the analysis. She gave away $42,000. Where was that $42,000 allocated from? Was that $42,000 that she gave away for the gas giveaway? Was that money that was in constituent services that was expressly earmarked for anything related to the constituents? If the answer is yes, probably not an issue. Spending $42,000 on the gas is wild, but if the answer is yes, probably not an issue. The next question is going to be, well, if all of the $42,000, let's say only $20,000 was earmarked for constituent services, and she got $22,000 from somewhere else. If she got $22,000 from somewhere else, it's not illegal to redivert funds associated with a budget from one place to another. Now, the question is going to be, did she follow the process to do it? Even if she didn't follow the necessary process to move those funds from A to constituent services, is probably not illegal. Now, the only thing that would make it illegal is if, hey, let's say, again, these are just all hypotheticals. Let's say during the gas giveaway, she was like, yo, all my family, all y'all pull up, and we gonna have y'all all fill up, and y'all aren't residents or y'all don't qualify as constituents. Because there has to be some method to prove that a person is a constituent to be able to get this service. You can't just give it to everybody who pull up. Or if she was like, yo, all you big rig truckers, y'all come on through. I'm gonna fill y'all up, and instead of paying $3.95 a gallon, hey, I'm gonna fill y'all up, and y'all just give me $2 per gallon cash. Something like that would be illegal. But if it's just she used funds that were allocated for constituent services, or she reallocated some funds from this part of the budget to the constituent services to do this, probably not an issue. The biggest thing I saw in that video that made the gas giveaway look sketch was how she printed it out on a flyer. She printed it out on the flyer as if it was a gas giveaway that was brought to you by the people for Tiffany Henyard, like an election related thing, like trying to, okay, this is something that we're doing to garner votes. That was the thing that jumped out as, yo, this looks probably illegal from these flyers she put out, because she's tying this gas giveaway at the village or the township, whichever one it was. She's tying it with this flyer to looks like it's a nexus to her campaign. And if that's the case, now you have an illegal campaign contribution because you're using state, village, township money, whatever it was, for an event that's not an event necessarily for the people, but is an event to go to the potential election of Tiffany Henyard for political purposes. So that is a good point. I don't know. I don't think it's you need more information to find out if the spending in fact is illegal. It could be egregious mismanagement. It could be a failure. I don't know if y'all just seen the mayor in East Cleveland who just got indicted, and it looked like the city council, they pretty much brought charges against him saying he was inept and couldn't do his job, trying to get him removed. You could be terrible. You could be a terrible mayor and overblow the budget and it not necessarily be illegal. I mean, the federal government overblows the budget all the time, so that is possible. We would need more information to find out if the excessive spending is illegal, or if we can personally identify that, as with the Lightfoot report, she used this money on Amazon, and these things at Amazon were specifically for her because there's items that are in her fucking house or something like that. Yeah. I know that was me in that city. I vote for anybody but her. She gets reelected. That's on the black community. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, it's on me. I agree, but I'm gonna be honest. I still don't think it's going to be as easy. I don't think it's going to be as easy of a election battle as people think, because and we talked about that. We know that Tiffany Henyard threw her bid for reelection in. We know that Jason House is throwing her bid in, and it looks like other persons are going to throw their bid in. And honestly, if I was Tiffany Henyard, I would just, it's called an aardvark. It's like the first word. I think it's the first word in the dictionary, aardvark, but it's called a political aardvark. If I'm Tiffany Henyard and Jason House was only running against me, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to lose. So if I'm Tiffany Henyard, what I would do is be like, yo, I would get a meeting. And I say, we need a political aardvark. Well, what's a political aardvark? We need somebody to run in this election who's going to take votes away from Jason House. We know you're not going to really do it, but we just need you to take votes away. So the more people that it is actually like, she actually really got a pretty good strategy. Because if the trustees were smart in the village, what I would do is say, yo, we want to focus our efforts on one candidate. We don't want 5 fucking people running against Tiffany Henyard, because Tiffany Henyard is probably going to get her votes. And I'm thinking the votes that she's targeting is the bingo community. Hey, old people, they come out to vote. Hey, shout out to the seasoned citizens, the seniors. They come out to vote. They like the fact that they're getting these items in bingo that appear to be a violation of the law because they're worth more than $10. And they like the fact that nobody from the IRS came and knocked on their door yet. So if she can get the senior citizens to come out and vote, and you got Jason House and 2 or 3 other people running, all they doing is diluting the voting pool, and they making her chances of winning that much stronger. So it's called a political aardvark. I think that if I was Tiffany Henyard, I mean, I'm not trying to give them advice, but politicians do it all the time. Yo, go ahead and run. I would probably get somebody else to run, and it would probably be another black male. Jason House is a black guy. Give me another black guy to run against him so I can split those votes up. All those votes he thought he was going to get with me versus him, nah, let's split his votes up, and that'll put me in a better position to win. So that might actually happen. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate everybody tuning in. What's good with you, Gerald? I know this was like a prime time to do it. I was about to pre-record these videos and just put them out too. Yeah, the car was it a carjacking? Was it a carjacking or was it like theft of something from a vehicle? Yeah, let me know. The way it was described to me, I never actually read it, but somebody in the comments was like, "Yo, it was like theft," or she was like opening unlocked doors or something like that. The carjacking mayor is lit. They are not going to let her turn herself in. They're going to go arrest her in front of everybody. A black woman in power. They can't resist embarrassing her. I mean, I see your point. I don't think it's an embarrassment. I think her conduct is probably more embarrassing. But like, yo, if you like the limelight and you like the live stream, I'm gonna give you exactly what you want. You the super mayor, you want the limelight and attention. That's what I'm gonna give you. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of anal like that. Like, yeah, I don't know. When you have people who have a blatant disregard for justice, those type of cases always bother me. Like I've had cases where people have committed fraud and it would be a low dollar amount. Like a $30,000 fraud case is a very low dollar amount. But I would see they had this pattern. They did it in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Always 30, 20, 40. There's always a number that's so low it won't raise eyebrows. And like I like because they have this egregious pattern, like those are the people I'd be like, you know what? They got a blatant disregard because they think they slick. So I'll be like, I know this one is low, but we're gonna make an example out of them. So I think some of that statement is true. She embarrassed herself, but yo, if you're the super mayor and you like attention, I'm gonna give you exactly what you should get. Yep, shout out to you. Let's see. Yeah. What about misappropriation of funds? Are they not unauthorized? Misappropriation of funds, it happens all the time. I've worked at like because one there's a the thing with misappropriation of funds is you got to look at what the misappropriation of funds are actually used for. Like if I misappropriate funds to buy some rims to put on my car, my ass is going to jail. But if I move funds from let's see, oh, we had a travel budget, but I'm like, you know what, we got a travel budget, but you know what, I'm just gonna send a select group of people. I'm not sending everybody. I'm gonna send a small group of people. I send that small group of people, and now I got $20,000, and we damn near at the end of the fiscal year, and that money isn't used. If I use that money for something else, sometimes and most times there's a method to where I can sign some paperwork and move those funds. But even if I don't move those funds, in that instance, if the funds were used for something that legitimately can be governmental in nature, I would never look at that case. If somebody came and said, "Oh, Tiffany Henyard did a gas giveaway. She had $20,000 allocated for constituent services that could potentially be used for the gas giveaway. She took $22,000 from another place on the budget. She took $22,000 from another place on the budget and moved it over and used those monies for the gas giveaway." If I'm a prosecutor, I'm not even like worried about that. Did she probably violate the rules? Yes. Is it criminal? No. Did she probably have to get authorization from the trustees? Yes. Like to me, I'm like, yo, that's an internal thing. Y'all can't control your man's. I wouldn't waste my time with something like that because I don't see any criminality there. You got to look at what the misappropriation is for. Now, the big thing where you can always catch all politicians is contracts. I say this all the time. If somebody hired me and said, go look at any municipality, I'm going to go look at the contracts. That's where you find the fraud at. Like, yo, who's getting these contracts and what relationship do they have to you? Is it a boyfriend? Is it a sister? Is it a third cousin removed? How long has this company who got this contract been in existence? Was it just created to apply for this contract? Did it go from a competitive contract, but you petitioned it to be a no bid contract so you can do a direct appointment to the contract? That's where they're going to really find the meat and potatoes at. Yeah, the carjacking mayor, not how did she get into power with a record like this? This is why you can't do racial politics. You have to look at a person's file. In this case, you have to do black facts. I agree 100%. I agree. You got to do your research. Don't do identity politics because somebody you think they look like you or they from where you from. Somebody look like you and not give two shits. Somebody could be from the same circumstances and they like, nope, I'm different now. I'm moving different now that I'm here. So, I actually agree with that 100%. Shout out to you. That's a dope comment. And I agree with it. Identity politics is for the bird. Vote your interest and do your due diligence and research. She throwing money like it's confetti. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. When is she going to her new home where her new color, orange is the new black? Let's see. Did Lori Lightfoot disclose what Tiff spent on 43? No, she didn't. That's actually a good ass question too, because according to shout out to you, he actually didn't. And it would be easy to find out, honestly. It would be easy to find out. The problem with Lori Lightfoot doing an investigation, she just doesn't have any real subpoena power. So, like, the information you get, nobody really. I don't think anyone is obligated to give her anything, as opposed to if an inspector general was doing an investigation. If you don't give, like, I can remember being in the IG community and I would have to go talk to like a government employee about a case, about an investigation. And I can remember doing an interview where I'm just asking to get information. Then the next day they quit and go to the private sector because you can't refuse to cooperate if you're a government employee and an IG inspector general, an attorney general, something like that, have expressed statutes. So that's the problem with the Lori Lightfoot report, which the first part was a preliminary. I feel like the other part should be coming out soon. So I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like the other more deep dive reports should be coming in soon. I don't think, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because y'all co-counsel, y'all be on it. I don't think Lori Lightfoot had any subpoena power to do anything. And if you don't have any subpoena power, nobody has any obligation to give you anything. Honestly, if I had a client who was approached by like Lori Lightfoot, it was like, hey, I need you to turn over these records. Excuse me, if they don't have any subpoena power, I'm like, man, kick bricks. Don't give them nothing. What they gonna do? Now, what could have been a possibility, and I don't know if this was done, it could have been a possibility where the trustees potentially could have, if the trustees work together, the trustees can always override a mayor's veto if they have enough votes on the council or the trustees. So it could have been a situation where the trustees, and I don't know if this happened, y'all let me know, where the trustees could have actually legislated some type of subpoena authority for Lori Lightfoot in that limited role as a special investigator who was doing that deep dive. But I'm guessing that they didn't, because I'm gonna just be honest, until recently, it looks like none of the trustees at any level were doing things that would normally be done under these weird, unique circumstances. But the answer to the question is no. We know that she spent it. We know that it was spent. We don't know what it was on, and we don't know who were the recipients of those Amazon deliveries, which would be an interesting thing to find out. That is why some states refuse to remove Kennedy from the ballot. Yep. Hey, financial aardvark. It makes everything easier. It dilutes the voting pool. And if you got the senior voters, the most reliable of voters, and you can dilute the pool of non-senior voters, hey, don't be shocked if don't be shocked if this election that turns around next year for the mayor is closer than what we think. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of any contracts allegedly. Henyard's daughter, father refused to meet with investigators. That's not good. But yeah, the contracts is where all the money is made in politics. Siphoning money off the top, passing them out to your friends and getting kickbacks. Now, this is interesting because we've seen this all the time. I think I talked about a scenario pretty ass where it was two district attorneys who they each gave, like, a district attorney gave his boy, who was a district attorney in another county, he gave his wife a job and none of them showed up to work. Yeah, now there could be some criminal charges there. With regard to the person who got the job, his criminal charges are going to be related to, is he actually doing the job? It's actually a crime to steal time. That's actually theft. If you say that I've worked 40 hours a week, and most government employees, they 9 to 5, 40-hour week guys. But if you're purporting, you fill in that timesheet and you put 8 and you was only there for 3 and you was out bullshitting around, yes, that's something that's a crime, could be charged. I think that would be the easiest crimes to charge the boyfriend with, because whatever this job is that he got making $100,000, one, he probably never made that in his life from what it seems in open source. But I seriously doubt that he's there actually doing I seriously doubt that he's there actually doing the job. One, and even if he isn't doing the job, I seriously doubt that he's at least just sitting in the office faking like he's doing the job for 40 hours a fucking week. So I think that would be like an easy charge to get him on. Of course, there's some criminal charges that could be associated with passing out jobs to your friends. The question is, do these people actually qualify for the job? Because if I get I've been in this position where I've given like, oh, nah, bro, you don't got to interview for that. They got to interview, but you don't got to interview for that because you good. But the reason I was able to do that is because I could look at his resume and see like, yo, at least this dude is actually qualified to do the fucking job. That would actually be dope though, for her boyfriend to get charged for, theft of time or something to that effect. But that's a possible charge that he could get. Allegedly, the second half of Miss Lightfoot's report has been delayed due to Miss Lightfoot being unable to get certain documents. She ain't got no subpoena power. If you're an investigator and you don't got no subpoena power, you're actually worthless. Like literally, you're actually worthless. What they should do, shout out to village trustees. If you all are watching this, if you have enough votes on the board of trustees at the village of Dalton where you can override, because you all to propose something, the mayor will be like, we're not doing this, I veto it. And you have to have a certain amount of votes to override the mayor's veto. If you can override the mayor's veto, what the trustees should do is not only appoint her as a special investigator, but if they could maybe finesse something where they put some requirement where, as special investigator in this role, village employees are required to comply with the request for documents. Kind of make her like an inspector general light. If you could get that statutorily done and override her veto, then Lori Lightfoot would actually have some teeth and be able to do her job. But if she don't got any subpoena power, there's no way. I would expressly advise, don't give her anything. If she don't got a reason for it, she ain't got no subpoena authority to come in here. Or, an IG can issue a subpoena, but IGs, like I know, like for healthcare, right? Doing healthcare investigations, if it was, let's say it was a podiatrist who was a foot doctor, and this foot doctor was alleged of prescribing opioids and Percocets, and when you look at a patient's medical file, all they had was a hangnail. And you're like, why the fuck are you getting opioids and Percocets for a hangnail? Well, the IG that, because the doctor, let's say that's all done through Medicaid or Medicare, because that inspector general has exclusive authority over that federal program, investigators from that inspector generals can just go in that doctor's office and look through his records. They don't even have to call, really. And the reason they don't have to is because those doctors were recipients of federal funding. And one of the conditions of getting that federal funding was that you have to comply with the inspector general's investigation. So the investigators could just show up, look through the files, or they can issue a subpoena. And if they didn't comply with the subpoena, one, they could be hung out to dry in court. But two, and more importantly, they could get kicked out of the Medicaid, Medicare program. And doctors don't want to do that because that's a lot of fucking money that they would lose. So the board of trustees actually, if they got enough votes to override like a mayoral veto, they actually may be able to legislate. They may be able to legislate Lori Lightfoot some authority to get persons employed with the municipality to comply with the Lightfoot investigation. They may be able to give her some teeth. Yeah. That second half of the report is going to be allegedly Dots had the hand in not letting Lightfoot have Dots. I'm gonna just be honest. I wouldn't give him up in any way. I heard some report that Kamal is telling on her. Is that true? I saw. I didn't watch a video. Like, that's the problem when you start talking about Henyard. All of these things pop up, and I saw a video that, like, I don't know, like, I don't watch all the videos, but I did see a video with like a thumbnail, like he was snitching, but I didn't watch it because a lot of thumbnails be capped. like I understand you want to make a thumbnail finesse, so people be like, "Oh man," and I saw something that said like he was telling or something like that. But I don't know if that's the case. I didn't watch the video, and I didn't see anything from a reputable media outlet that denotes that. I've actually seen videos and photos of them together recently in like a Facebook group that I'm in that kind of relates around Dalton and township politics. So I don't know if that's the case. Now I will tell you, if he's leaned to one, he probably would tell on her in a heartbeat, because I've been doing this for a long time. People tell. Nobody wants to go to prison. Nobody wants to be made another person's boyfriend against their will. So people tell all the time. But I don't know. I seen a thumbnail that suggested that, but that was the only one I saw. I didn't see anything from a reputable source, so I didn't waste the time to actually click on the link. Y'all let me know if that's actually a real thing or not. But I don't think so. I'll take a look, and if it is, I'll drop something later this week. Yeah. Hey, shout out to you, AP. Shout out to this comment. Hey, Lori Lightfoot is trying to run up a bag. She's no longer the mayor of Chicago anymore. They got the other guy over there being terrible. And hey, shout out to you. Hey, Lori Lightfoot is not stupid. She like, yo, I'm gonna need some more time because I can't get these documents. 12 hours today. Hey, that's a good point. Is Lightfoot strategically utilizing her time at a rate of $400 per hour, fully aware that she lacks subpoena power? Yeah. Yeah, hey, I'm not saying she is or isn't doing that. All I'm saying is, yo, that's a fair comment. Hey, shout out to you. Shout out to No Weapon. That is hilarious. Hey, everybody do a little bit of gamesmanship, man. Normally when you billing for services, like, well, I can't speak. I think it's the same, okay? But normally, like, attorneys, we bill in 15-minute increments. So, like, if I like, okay, I got to make a phone call on behalf of this client for something, I normally bill. You normally know, normally billing is done in like 15-minute increments. So I would have that phone call. If that phone call was 10 minutes, it's going to take me 10 minutes to have that phone call, then maybe another 3 to 5 minutes to actually log all my billable hours, because that's how you get paid, especially if you're in private practice. If you make, I don't know if y'all know the breakdown, because a lot of people, let me tell you how hard private practice is, okay? If an attorney in private practice makes, let's say he made $200,000 a year, and $200,000 a year is like that's like at the right law firm, that's like new attorney money. But let's say a guy's been doing it for a while, make $400,000 a year. If you make $400,000 a year as a private practice attorney, your billable hours is probably somewhere in the $1 to $1.2 million range. So attorneys who bill these, like, yo, like, damn, people hear and be like, yo, damn, you charging somebody $500, $750 an hour. Like, yeah, I'm charging $750 an hour, but I'm not spending 8 hours a day working on your case. I may spend an hour on your case, 2 hours on another case, but that's how it works in private practice. And so let's put this, we're talking about billable hours. So it was a law firm, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was a firm that I had an opportunity to work for, and they had the lowest requirement to get their bonus. But let's say, I want to say their bonus, it was something like, I can't remember what the annual requirement was. Oh shit, my fire alarm battery must have just died. I heard it beep. Let me close the door because I don't want y'all to be like, man, this Negro fire alarm going on. It wasn't beeping until now. But normally, whatever you make in private practice, your billable hours is probably 2 times that to make that money. So a lot of people who have these high salaries, you look at attorneys in the private sectors, they move firms every 2 or 3 years because the first year your salary is kind of guaranteed. That second and third year, if you ain't bringing in that time, they'll let your ass go so fast. So I'm assuming that, and even if as an attorney, if I don't do the work, let's say I give something to my paralegal is still going to bill in a 15-minute increment. But okay, if I'm charging $7.50 an hour, the paralegal maybe $2.50 an hour to do some research or to draft a motion or something like that. But yeah, the billable hour game is no joke. Hey, what's going on, Lisa Lee? I appreciate you tuning in as always. Yeah, Lacey and his attorney were seen leaving the federal courthouse last week. The poster said they looked it up on Pacer and no docket listed. So you know what? So you know why they were there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you look it up on Pacer, and if it doesn't necessarily have to be something on the docket. It could have been something related to him being a stool pigeon. I said quail pigeon. It could have been something to be him being a stool pigeon, or he could have been there to talk to somebody about his federal bankruptcy case. But I mean, hey, people snitch. It happens all the time. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this last Henyard story before we get out of here. Let me go ahead and we're going to expand that. Oh, probably not. Let me go ahead and cue this up. This one is related to the lawsuits that we talked about. Competing meetings. They were like, yo, we want the meeting here. We're trying to comply with the Open Meetings Act, and y'all keep locking our asses out. We can't do nothing. So Henyard and the trustees were battling over where to have this meeting at. She wanted it at place A, which I'm assuming because one, it's a smaller venue. She can probably influence it with her paid supporters, and she has people who can actually come and lock the doors if she wanted to. They wanted it at a place that was bigger, trying to comply with the Attorney General's Open Meetings Act. So this actually is relatively new. It just posted 3 hours ago. So yeah, this was new. I saw this before I jumped on, and I was like, oh, let's go ahead and talk about the results of that or what's going on with that. Let's go ahead. We'll make that larger. Let's see what's going on with the dueling meetings, how things are going. Henyard wants the meetings at place A. Trustees want it at place B. They're saying they're trying to comply with the Open Meetings Act. Henyard saying that, yo, no, y'all can't move it there. I don't know what her real legitimate reason is, but she has a lot of control over that particular facility, is what I'm assuming.
The political power struggle continues in Dalton. Today, the mayor of that suburb had a hearing in court. NBC5's Regina Waldrop has been reporting on the issues in Dalton for months. She was in court as the judge ruled on where village board meetings can be held.
On October 7th, 2 public meetings in 2 different locations. Dalton's mayor took legal action, filing a lawsuit against a majority of trustees and the Park District. Among other things, Tiffany Henyard was asking for Village Hall to be the primary place for conducting village business, but a Cook County Chancery judge disagreed, saying the space not large enough.
The meetings have to be held somewhere other than the village, just like the Attorney General of Illinois said.
Residents have complained about barricades, street closures, and inadequate space at board meetings. Last month, the Attorney General's office said the village violated the Open Meetings Act. The attorney for the majority of trustees said meetings were moved to the Park District to make them convenient and open to the public.
They filed the complaint, not the lawyers, the people of Dalton. So this is all about the people of Dalton, how they've been wronged and how the trustees are trying to make it right.
Henyard was in court today with trustee Andrew Holmes, also part of that lawsuit. They didn't speak, but their attorney did.
The mayor has always been clear about one thing, that the people of the village of Dalton deserves to know where their businesses will be conducted.
A judge also rejected Henyard's request to void much of the business approved at that October 7th meeting. The judge also said he was concerned about Mayor Pro Tem Jason House overstepping his boundaries.
At the end of the day, the mayor wants the people of Dalton to be served and served accordingly, according to the person that they elected mayor, which is Mayor Henyard.
What we will do next time is allow sufficient time for the mayor to attend the meeting. What is sufficient or reasonable time? I really don't know, but we will give time for the mayor to come and preside.
And the judge also said the people of Dalton have a right to peace, despite the conflict the mayor and the majority of trustees currently have. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
All right, so Hey, that played out exactly how we thought it would play out. It was no good reason for having those meetings at a smaller venue. With the only good reasons were reasons that were specifically isolated to Tiffany Henyard. She can control the venue. She can control the flow of traffic. She could block things. It was interesting though that they said the judge had some issues with potentially Jason House overstepping his boundaries as mayor pro tem. Man, that's actually interesting because what they would want to avoid is some potential collusion that would have looked something like this. She wants to have the meeting there. We want to have the meeting here. All of us are trustees, including all of us trustees. Let's have a conversation, us and House. Let's just move the meeting here. We know she's not going to show up. And if she doesn't show up, you in your role as mayor pro tem, we can push through whatever our agenda is. And I mean, as good as that potentially probably would be for the citizens and the taxpayers, I could see why the court would be like, okay, if she don't show up, that's one thing, but it can't be any funny business going on. So that's interesting to kind of see. But yeah, that's what's going on with the super mayor. As always, I'll break out the latter portion of this video to something that's smaller for the folks who want to watch on the replay side of the game. Yo, if y'all get a chance, first of all, I appreciate everybody who tuning in, who's supporting the channel. Y'all make sure if y'all get something out of it, subscribe, like, comment. Even if you don't like it, comment. I don't care. If you don't like it or say some rude shit, I'm gonna hit the thumbs up and put a heart by it anyway. So it is what it is. But hey, I appreciate all the interaction. But before we get out of here, I talked about it on a live, but a video I put out about an unthinkable retaliation that was done by an individual. Y'all need to check that video out. It was probably crazier than the attorney who joined the migrant gang. The attorney who joined the migrant gang was wild, but it's maybe a 7-minute video I put out. Check it out. It's not funny. It's entertaining. It's informative. More importantly, I think it's kind of sad to show the level of evil that's out here in the world. But it's an interesting story that I think to give some visibility, everybody should probably keep their head on the swivel. Let me go ahead and check out these last few comments. I appreciate y'all. Henyard just wanted to be in charge. The trustees verified with the AG before they had the meeting. Henyard is totally in the wrong, as always. Yo, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shout out to you all, Bo, Norm. Hey, no weapon formed against me. Lisa Lee, Pretty Eyes. There's just so many people to name. My guy, AP. Hey, everybody, I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Have a good one. And like I said, hey, make sure y'all keep your head on the swivel. Move right out here in these streets. You do good. Good things are coming to you. Y'all be blessed. Peace.